up, guys, and welcome back to Project Z Garage. Today we're going to be working on changing out the engine mounts for the GMC Acadia Denali. We found out when we were looking at the car, we were hearing a weird noise, clicking, which ended up being the motor was moving a lot on this front mount, if you can see it down there underneath the oil filter. So that's going to be the first one we're going to attack. We have to remove the oil filter to get to that one. There is another mount underneath this fuse box, if you see there. It's kind of hard on the side. There we go. All the way under there. So we got to get to that one, and then we have two other ones in the back and on the side that we're gonna have to get to, but we have to get under the car and check those. So first off, I guess we're gonna jack the car up and start working on disassembling these parts. All right, guys, while I was working on loosening things underneath, let's see if we can get to this engine mount or torque mount on the top here. First, we're gonna loosen this oil filter cap so that we can get some room. And we're gonna pull this off here, the engine cover. Almost lost that.
Yeah, almost lost the ball down there.
Al jumped. Move this out the way. Put the oil cap back in. All right, and we're gonna have to loosen the power. Let's take this off here. This all is holding it down. We have two 10 millimeters. I think this is a 13 millimeter. Make sure you disconnect your battery before you do this.
Which we did.
And once we get that off and these two off, we can start working around. There's clips around the side of it to loosen it so we can pull this up. All right, guys, we got the plate underneath the electrical box out. You can see the mount now.
So we need this to take it off?
Under all this stuff. Let me fix this. So there's our other mount right there. So now we can get to the two bolts and replace that one out. The bolts inside of that plate are 10 millimeter. This was a 13 millimeter and the two little ones were 10 millimeters. So while Al's taking off the oil filter, because you got to get the oil filter off to get to the front engine mount, the top of the nut, and we have access to this side mount, and then we still need to do the rear ones where those are going to be a little bit more difficult to get to. Alright guys, so you see once you remove the oil filter out of the way, you can get to the top of the bolt right down there.
Boss, you got an 18.
And
you want to use that one?
that is a... Alright guys, so we have the super long extension, and the bolt, the nut on this top of this engine mount is an 18 millimeter. So as you can see, it's pretty long, and we're going to try to unscrew that, and then we're going to have to take some pressure off this motor with a jack. Okay guys, so we got the mount out. It was a pain. We had to lift the motor up a little bit. If you see here, this is the old one right here, and it's still making a lot of noise. If you look at that one, when Al shakes it, it's nice and tight, no movement. Yeah, see, this one is moving a lot, so it's definitely broken on the front. So those are 18 millimeter top and bottom. I was gonna try to squeeze it through by the AC compressor, because it's kind of the only place that has enough room to get it in. And then once we get it up and over, we're gonna get it in place there. And the two bolts for the dog bone mount is 15 millimeter. We've got one out there. We're gonna have to move the motor a little bit, or drop it down a little bit, so we can remove the back one, and then we'll slide that one in.
So got one bolt under here on the passenger side, and to get to the other one, I'm actually using an open end wrench. Hope you can see what I'm talking about, right on top there. And this is the mount on this side. It's once you jack up on the transfer case and the engine and put two jacks on that and you get it up, you should be able to get through that one. Remember, all of them are loose, otherwise how is it going to move? And then on the driver's side, this was another one here. I used an open end wrench right there at the bottom, and if you lift this up, when you take off the two cat claws, you can get to the top. Can't really see it with the camera. I'm actually just feeling for it and put it in there. The front one from right under here is an access hole, and then the top one you can get from the top straight down.
Alright guys, so we torque these bolts to 43 foot-pounds. We also torque all the other engine mounts that we did. We dropped the engine back down, and now we're going to replace the tray and all of the components on the top here. Alright guys, so that is pretty much how you put together this back. This was a 13, 210s. Don't over tighten those. You'll feel when it gets really tight, and that's it. Just stop there. That just pulls the plugs in so it tightens. Tighten up the nut on top of this engine mount, and we reinstalled a new oil filter. And if you need to do the one on the driver's side engine mount is over here. You will need to drop the K-frame or subframe about an inch or so. You will need to get new bolts because they are one-time use bolts, and that'll give you enough room to jack the motor up a little and let the K-frame or subframe down enough to get the engine mount out. But you know, I don't think a lot of times these go as bad as quickly as this front one, so you may just want to replace that front one first and see how it goes. But you know, sometimes it's good to just replace all at once so you know everything's been done. And that's it. So guys, that pretty much wraps up how you change the engine mounts on a, what is this, a 2014? Boss, what year is this? 2014?
Oh, I see it.
2011, I'm sorry. This is a 2011 GMC Acadia Denali. So now, seeing that we had to take out the oil filter, we're doing an oil change on it. New oil filter, filling it up with 5W30, 5.5
Yes.
quarts, and we'll let it sit, check the level, and we should be good. We'll take it for a little test drive just to see if we got rid of the little bit of knocking you heard when you either are initially reversing or you're on a bumpy road. That's when you would start hearing some clicking from the front, and I really think it's that front mount because that thing was completely blown out. So guys, I think we're gonna call it a day. We've actually completed this in a relatively short amount of time. Normally this would be a 2-day issue because something breaks, but it didn't. So until next time guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.